Jackson does it all the time. You do it on your show on Wednesday nights. Philip Colley does his show. And Donna Sneed and all the legacies. Everybody's trying to still hold it, and that's the beauty of the funk. That's what first attracted me to it, man. Again, we're hanging out on Funk from the Front Seat. I'm with my funk brother, my friend, my mentor, fellow musician, and all that good stuff rolled up
Oh,
into
thanks,
one.
man.
Mr. Gabe Gonzalez from the D. And again, you and I was talking off air a minute ago, man, and I saw your dog, and I got to tell you, I love animals. I just live in an apartment now, so I can only have fish, because dogs and cats cost me extra, man. But you got a beautiful dog, man. That's what's up.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah,
Boy,
she all right.
show.
That's my
Yeah,
baby.
so back in the day when you first was coming up underneath this whole funk mothership thing, and you was into other music as well. Obviously, you're an amazing drummer. Hang out with Dennis Chambers and some of the greats. What prompted you to know that this was going to be your line? You were cut out for it, and you were going to actually do it and go full head.
Well, you mean when did I
Yeah, no,
actually?
in general, when you started out, we all start somewhere. So, what prompted you to go ahead and just say, "Listen, this is what I'm gonna do. I feel it in my bones. This is who I am." When you was coming up, because I know uh,
Yeah.
we all start from somewhere. Like I said, I just want to know how you started in this whole funk thing.
Well, the funk thing. Well, in my neighborhood, I got there was a couple drummers that I will hear them practicing in the basement playing the records and stuff. And there's one cat, he was funky, man. This cat Jack, he was kind of like one of my first teachers, and my aunt was really my first teacher. She was into a lot of jazz, and she had a lot of records in her house, and she could swing and play blues, and her kids just listened to a lot of funkadelic and stuff, and I was always around it. And in my house, wherever household I went to, everybody had funkadelic. It was like a thing that seemed to follow me, which was weird, So I just knew if you had that album in your house, you must be cool or everything is hip. And music was like, in those households, I grew up. Well, I'm Puerto Rican and black, but I grew up with the black side of my family, which is my mother's side of the family. So, it's just so much music was around, and even Led Zeppelin, which, for me was deep because
Yeah.
even though they were a white rock group, I think a lot of black people embraced them
Oh
because
yeah.
they had, soul and they were funky,
Yeah.
And it was same here with Grand Funk Railroad, which was another influence,
Yep.
musically, because they're from here. And actually, gave Led Zeppelin a run for their money a couple times. I heard some stories, but about their
Oh yeah.
manager, Led Zeppelin's manager, he wasn't no joke. He was a straight up gangster, and they kicked their ass one night, and that was the last time that happened. So anyway,
Yeah. Right. Because they didn't want that. Yep.
yeah, that was it. But
Yep.
yeah, no, man, Motor City Bad Boys, man. I'm around that every day, man. On my main gig, the Grandy Ballroom is like a mile from there, so I pass it every day. So I it's like I wasn't born yet, but I can imagine just like when I pass that building, I just can feel it. I get chills just looking at it, like the Chambers Brothers and the Cream and Hendrix and all these people perform right here in this ballroom right in my neighborhood where I grew up in. And I, by the time I was old enough, it was already
Yeah.
closed down. But there's a possibility that they got some people that have a foundation and they're gonna open up. I want to give a shout out to my man John Sinclair too. It's his birthday today.
Go for it,
He's
man.
about 79 or 80. He's we gave him an award with George because he was the MC5's manager. So, they used to tour with Funkadelic and stuff like that in the early days. But anyway, man, not to get far off, but yeah, I got into it, man. I was always around it. So it just kind of naturally happened. It's weird. Like literally, I was always around it.
Yeah.
And
It's funny
they
you
was always
mentioned
around
that
here.
ballroom because we in New York had that same feeling about the Apollo. You
Right.
pass it and then and see and then sometimes when you're coming up, you're like, okay, don't worry, I'm gonna be in that building one day performing. It just
Right.
draws you, you know.
Right.
And
Yeah.
you was there, obviously, United Sound up in Detroit. We were always jealous in New York because we
Right.
were like, damn, we can't get to Detroit, and that's where the hub is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We knew
Hey.
all the heads.
Right.
We
Right.
knew United Sound was the hub. We used to see it on the albums, and my
Yeah.
father was a minister. Yeah, you ain't
Wow.
going to Detroit. I was like, but Dad, that's where they are. I know they're from Plainfield, New Jersey, but they're recording in Detroit. I gotta get
Man.
there. No,
Man,
no.
listen. You don't even know what you're saying, man. That shit is okay. I get it. Dude. I'm feeling the fuck out of that. And the thing is, dude, I used to ride the bus with my grandmother because she didn't drive and stuff, and that's who raised me when I was a kid. So I remember us leaving like the department store downtown Hudson's, and we would be on the bus,
Yeah,
and man, look, we would pass United. It would go past United. The bus would. And my ass would be trying to hop off the bus, like I need, because I would see people standing on the porch and out there, and she was like, "Boy, what are you doing?" And grabbing me, and she's about to smack me upside. I was like, "I got to get off for a minute. I'll get back on. I'll see you later." No, she wouldn't have. And meanwhile, I was holding the damn albums. I had just bought them because they used to be at the Kresge store, which was like Kmart. They used to have all the Westbound stuff in the dollar bins, man. Like fucking like Ohio Players, Funkadelic.
yeah,
So you could buy them albums for $2 and $3, man. So I had like 2 and 3 copies, and I wore them all out, man. I was that seriously into that shit. Like it was heavy to me. And then you know, I seriously tried to get off the bus. And later in high school, one day through me and Aunt Fiddler, I ended up going to United for the first time, and they were producing. George was producing Otis Day and the Knights.
yeah.
The Animal House cast, and Bernie was in there, and I was like, man, I went with my cousin who was a keyboard player, my other homie, and we was determined out to get in there. And of course, man, we just got the porch access. They didn't, you wouldn't. It was a closed session, especially if Bernie was there because nobody
Yeah.
knew us. But I eventually gained access one day with Clip, who got me in the band. And all this happened, I was still in high school, which was amazing. It was like, I can't tell you, So I was a sponge, and I learned a lot, man. From them, and
Yeah, man.
Clip especially. He taught me like a lot about programming, drum machines.
Yes, that's right.
Snyder,
Yep.
Gary
He
Snyder
was
as
early.
well.
He was.
Then Gary
Yes.
stayed with me. Gary recorded a lot of stuff with me, and I had a little raggedy guitar. He would play it, and he would make magic on it, man. I used to drive Eddie Hazel around. I just got so many deep memories, But
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
which prompted me to start my own thing, So that's kind of
Yeah.
how all that happened.
We're going to get into that because the first time, I saw Enema Squad again. Y'all came to New York. Wetlands was still open, and
Yeah.
Black Rock Coalition was popping and all that good stuff, right? And so I was like, and everybody was like, the buzz was Enemy Squad's in the house, right? So I was like,
Right.
oh, okay, let me check them out, And at the time, Nappy hadn't started, and I'm still doing corporate wedding stuff and all that. But I was a funk kid born into it, and I saw you guys, man, and I was like, oh, they on some other stuff.
Well, hey, we the generation, we the product of that, because
Yes,
we
yes,
grew up watching that,
yes, yes,
and
yes.
being young and hungry, we was like, but that's the thing. Even though new funk, not to cut you off, even though new
No,
funk
no,
was coming in,
yeah,
we still embrace that early funkadelic shit, the taboo, that the early days shit. We didn't really play Knee Deep in One Nation and all that shit. We was doing I Want to Know If It's Good to You and
yes,
Free Your
yes,
Mind, and
yes, yes,
just just the obscure raw shit, which
yes, yes,
again,
exactly,
man,
exactly. Exactly.
Wetlands, that was the spot, man. We used to tear it up there. Was that when Funkin opened up
Yes,
for us?
yes. See, and I was at all those shows. I didn't have a band yet, and I wasn't
Yeah.
never by the stage because I was always stepped back by the booth with Craig Ijamo, and I would be observing. And then he asked me to put together a band when we did George Clinton's birthday party, and that's how I
All
met
right.
the clone, and that's how I really got a chance to be funkin'. Y'all wasn't
Right.
on that show, but I just want to give a shout out every now and then, Gabe. You'll see me wave hi to your fans. Sonia Murphy told me to tell you hello. Dr. Brooks is in the
Hey,
house.
hey.
You'll see me, wave. Again, we're hanging out with my funk brother, Mr. Gabe Gonzalez, from Detroit, spending a little time with us today on Funk from the Front Seat right here on IBM.TV. When Wetlands, brother, let me tell you, CBGB's in Wetlands, it was like I lost a member of my family when those spots closed up, you know?
Yeah.
That's all we had, And then we had a few spots on Long Island, but when you guys used to come through and we'd see you, you guys were like our heroes because y'all was already doing it so hard, and I was like, okay. Now I learned. It was like college for me watching y'all. It really was. That's why I always tell you that, man. You're an amazing, amazing spirit. So,
Oh,
and
thank you.
you did that, and obviously P Funk All Stars traveling around the world. You said you were a sponge, and hanging out with the cats on the mothership. When I first met you officially, it was upstate, and I ain't gonna say where, undisclosed location, but you know where I'm talking about, upstate New York.
Yeah, Newburgh.
And we was just hanging out, and I was like, "Yo, this is just a regular dude, man." And we sit by the car, smoking, talk about girls and all that stuff, And I really genuinely enjoyed, your love for life and all that stuff, man. Remember, I had that red Trans Am, and I used to drive.
Uh, yeah, I don't
Yeah,
remember, but I do remember hanging out with you.
man.
And I
I
will
used to
say,
drive her to the rehearsals. Keith
yeah,
Jackson says hello, Gabe.
hey, that's my man. We
And
did it up last night, man.
you
We
did.
went in.
And I gotta tell you something. If they're not
Yeah.
on your show on Wednesday nights, they better be. Cause you be doing some phenomenal funk mixes. I
Oh
don't always
man, thank you, man.
on the thread, but I always listen with my headphones on. Because your
Right.
mixes are phenomenal. So how did you get into that whole DJ thing? Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, thank you first of all, and secondly, I've been DJing since like 1981 when I was a teenager. I was probably like, you know, 12, 13. And it was a thing in my hood. Like if you wasn't gang banging or, and I did a little bit of both. I was in the gang Notorious 8 Mile, Smurfs or whatever. And it was, just it was stupid. But Detroit was real territorial and everybody was only a few miles away. So a lot of the kids, our parents preferred us to stay in the house, so which is kind of how the music thing happened for me because all my friends was
Yeah.
thugging and fighting, but they'd be like, "Oh, let's get Gabe," and the gay they like, "Nah, he doing his music shit." They just stopped bothering me because they knew at some point I pulled away from that street shit because I was really heavy into it. Like I was the leader of one gang, and anyway, not to get off and all that, but it just
No,
made me
go ahead, man.
remember
That's good.
all that, and I'm just grateful that my life turned around because I was young. I didn't know, and it's just your environment, man. You suck all that shit in, especially in Detroit, because
Yeah, you do.
me being who I was, a lot of kids was always trying to test me because I was a light skinned kid and curly hair. So I used to get picked on a lot, but at some point,
Yeah,
all that stopped happening because I turned into another person, and
yeah,
moms
yeah,
just
yeah,
knew, hey, don't mess with that dude because he ain't having it, and et
yeah.
cetera, et
That's all.
cetera. And then once I started playing drums, I even gained more respect from the older thugs and hoods because they thought that was cool that I played drums and shit. So they almost was like, that's good. Somebody's doing something
Yeah,
with us that ain't out here, stealing cars and blowing up shit and doing dumb shit because I don't know. I did all that, and I'm just thankful and blessed because karma's real. Believe me, I done had my ass kicked many times, and every time I always reflect on something stupid that I did to know that, okay, God, I get
You're
it.
right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Every lesson,
but I
bro, is a
need that.
learning.
I needed that.
Every lesson
But
is a learning. I went through mine too. New York, you got, the major cities, you got to run up against that. And like you said, people
yeah,
test you, and
yeah,
again, you brought up something very crucial. The last generation before us, the old heads, if they saw that you had something special, they would deter you from hitting the street, even if you was halfway there. And the same thing used to happen with us. They used to be like, no, don't shoot dope. Don't get
right,
caught up in this. You got your music. Focus
right,
on that. You know what I'm saying? And again, like a lot of us were like glad that they steered us in that direction, man.
yeah,
And your spirit led you to where you are. You're a warrior. I know. I know. We've talked about some things, man. And
oh
I'm gonna
yeah,
share this with people that don't know. One night I was having it, and I called his brother, and within 7 minutes he responded to me, got back to me, and touched me in such a way to help me get through it. Because I reached out and I needed to reach out to somebody, and that's all I'm gonna say. But I was having, because a lot of people know it's no thing. They know I suffer from depression a lot, and when I reached out to you that night, um, I'll never forget it, brother. Let me tell you, it brings tears to my eyes right now to say thank you, because you reached out to me within 7 minutes and got back to me and asked me and
yeah,
told me it was gonna be all right. And that, to me, is bigger than the music. That's what connects funk. And I just wanted to
no,
share that story. And I don't mean to embarrass you, but I really had to
no.
share that story.
Hey, look, man, I got goosebumps right now just from you saying all that. I mean, I don't even know what to. I mean, I'm I don't know how to say it. Just my being, it's just something special, and I'm connected to God, and I've learned that because I've been in many situations where I wouldn't be here, but I know He made it possible to protect me from certain things to keep me here. And after you do so much bad stuff in your life when you're younger and you're stupid, you just realize, and you mature and you get older and you realize life ain't even about all that. So
That's right.
that's
Yep.
really what it is to me. And I have suffered from depression. So, hey, when I know somebody else is, I understand. And that's nothing better than because a lot of people will think and say they understand, but I really do. I just lost a friend 2 weeks ago who killed herself. Beautiful girl. She was a young artist. And damn,
I'm
I
sorry.
don't want to lose it right now, but it didn't even really hit me till now. And I went to the funeral and I didn't even cry. But that's how 2020 has made me. I'm numb to death because there's so many people dying. I don't have time to grieve because before I do, another one dies. And it
Yeah,
ain't
yeah,
really and it ain't really from the whatever this bullshit that they manufactured. It's more or less death, period. Because like I
yeah,
said, I've lost a lot of people to stuff that's not related to that. So
yeah,
anyway, no, man, I was glad to be there for you, and I'm just like that, man. Like,
yeah. And let me
because
tell you,
people have been there for me that I wouldn't believe a lot of times that would even give a fuck about me. To be honest with you,
yeah,
and that's the thing that's weird about life. You just don't know who really cares and who.
that's right.
Because I don't rely on my family as much no more because of the things I went through. But that's another story. But
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
one thing I discussed with my actual cousin the other day.
yeah.
Blood don't make you family, period.
That's right.
So, and I learned that, P Funk, that's my family, and I might not, see them or whatever, but no matter what, that's always my family because when I was on the road and I got sick or something, they took care of me. When I wasn't doing right, my uncles Ray and all them, they was, hey boy, what you doing? They was gonna beat my ass when I did something I shouldn't did. Skeet and all them guys, they was gonna, hey, what are you doing? It was like some love that I never really realized, like wow, these dudes really care, about me, and so that made me really start caring about myself more. And once I
Yeah,
did that,
yeah,
that was the secret, man. I really didn't care about myself a lot. I mean, and that's because of growing up the way I was and just wild and then plus when you young and almost a young funkadelic, that's the arrogance that comes with that. So, I'm the drummer. Here I am, 25, 26, playing arenas, pocket full of money. knowing girls in every city coming to pick me up it was a lot for me and a lot for the people around me. And it was just like I had to just decompress, and that's one of the reasons I stepped away from the band, because it was overwhelming, a lot of it. So
Yeah.
I had to spiritually find myself, and
Yes.
then
Yes.
once I did that, I finally released my record, and the Enemy Squad, United State of Mind, and you know, uh,
That's that quote that you said about family, the funk family, even the fans or whatever. And Dr. Brooks said, "Hey, what's up, Undisco Kid?" From time
yeah,
to
what up,
time,
dog?
people are chiming in. I'm hanging out today with my main man, Gabe Gonzalez. Oh boy, is he lit up with his music. Here on IBM.TV, Funk from the Frontier. I'm number 9. I'm your host. That thing you brought up about family, I've never met a funketeer, color, race, creed, gender don't matter, that didn't love another funketeer. I tell people all the time, if the world was full of funketeers, there'd be no war. There'd be no
Yeah,
scraps. There'd be no war, because funk is about love, about giving. Like you said, it was bigger than the music. It's your family.
right.
And those of us on the outskirts, I call us the outer ships. We're not the mothership, but we're those outer ships. We felt that trickle down. And that trickle down, I think, is what makes the whole thing kind of work, because there are so many cats out there like Brooks, like Sonya Murphy, like all these people, Larry Funkster Jones, all these people that just are funk family to me, like you are. You my funk family, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um, and it's funny, you said something off air earlier. You said you was already wearing your mask last time I saw you
I was.
at the Funketeers ball. You was like, man, I'm way ahead of this stuff. But I always tell people, hey, wear the mask, use your hand sanitizer, and just try to stay safe. And that's all I'm going to say about that. So, Godzilla Radio, tell us a little bit about that and how people can find you and listen to you, where they can find you at.
Well, it's P Funk Radio every Wednesday night, 10 p.m. to 1, or it's usually until I'm finished, but it's somewhere between that 1:30, sometimes 2 mark.
Yeah,
whenever whenever Keith is, he ain't too tired, or he feeling it. We'll go a little longer if the thread is jumping, and I just been paying attention a lot to everybody's thread, and Phil, I give him credit because he kind of started the party thread thing, because I know the radio show thing. I know I used to do interviews on Ricky Vincent's station in KPFA when I was touring with P Funk in the 90s, and with Bernie Worrell. And so I was aware of it. And I actually started a little bit in radio in high school. There was a high school station here in Michigan, Oak Park, Michigan, where a lot of cats I would hang out with, not far from Detroit, on the other side of 8 Mile there. And in the 80s, I used to go in with my homie who was like a famous DJ now, this cat Mark, uh, Scott Kenton and Mark. They big time playing in Dubai and all that type of shit. So they had a show back then, and we was into like Depeche Mode and all this weird 80s, what I'm saying?
right,
Cocteau
right, right.
Twins, like these was the 80s, like, and even a lot of weird shit, which is considered punk, like, well, not electric, like raw punk, like early punk, but yeah, punk, like, like the Flying Lizards and shit like that, in the Clash, and
Yeah, yeah.
well, so I just was always absorbing all kind of weird ass. I used to try to find weird radio stations at night, off the grid, and I would hear some of the baddest shit that of course, you couldn't hear. And we grew up with one of the most hell of a DJs in the world, Electrify Mojo, who broke Prince's record, a lot of P Funk records. He played Needy 2 weeks before they sent it to be pressed in with Warner Brothers, just to try it out on the city, straight from the pressing plant. So Detroit was famous for, we had shit. And by the way, if you didn't know, I was actually born in New York. So I'm from New York, but I grew up in Detroit. So I always had that little bit of New York edge about me, where I was like, what I'm saying, a little more aggressive, and
Yeah.
so, and hungry for it. So it kind of, timing is everything. And I'm blessed. I'm thankful for my P Funk family and George and everybody. And and Bernie, especially for taking me under his wing when I made, you know, my transition from moving from there. It was like, you know, they would always say, you know, when you graduated, you were Bernie now. So I took that as like I really went to P Funk University. You know what I mean? So
I noticed that because when I saw you guys upstate, and the one thing you told me, because Amp was playing, and it was the day before Bernie had got there, even though his equipment was already there. And
yeah,
I was talking to you on the side, and you said, "Man, you said it's lit now." You said the first thing you told me is, "Wait till Bernie gets here tomorrow." You know what I'm saying? I came the next day.
man, look, it was magical. And actually, I got Amp on that gig, but you know what I'm saying? 'Cause I remember Judy calling me, which is I see I'm wearing the purple, so I'm representing my woo today. You know what I'm saying?
I
Funky
got you.
Duck Studios. I got to give a shout out to them in New York City because they
No
always let
doubt.
me do my thing up there. You know, uh, yeah, you know what I'm saying? We making some things happen, and you know that's what's gonna happen, man. I'm trying to, you know, continue to do these radio shows. This week I got Baby Funk. She's the lady of Jimmy Ali Parlette bassist, so she'll be on the show.
Okay. Okay.
And some other surprises. Billy Bass, you know, he had to reschedule, so he may pop in. I'm just waiting. I don't rush him because you know he's Billy Bass, the great bass master. So, but I've been talking to Billy every other day. He may cuss me out and shit on the damn air, but I already told him like, man, whatever, man, just be you. That's why I've been. He the only guest been giving me problems. Everybody else come on cool. It's always my brother and shit. Like man, cool. No, you know. But yeah, no, man. I've been checking everybody's shows out, man, and for a long time, and that kind of made me um do what I do, man. And every week I listen. I may not be on the thread and listen, but I try to check out everybody's show just to see what they're doing. It actually inspires my show, believe it or not, because I know where not to go or where to go. Because I might either follow up with somebody's show from something I heard, and or I'll just go left field on everybody, you know, and just like this week, you know, I had to do a tribute to Rocco Steele, you know, the great bass master, you know. So I
Yeah.
always
Oh
try to
my God.
pay tributes. You know, that's what I always did. Even before I had the radio show, I was doing the mixes and DJing, paying tribute to people because you know, at some point I was always making mixtapes forever. But my thing was, um, you know, I didn't want to just be playing music. I wanted it to be a theme to it or a storyline where it catches on. Just like when I do my time travel segment, I always lead up to my special guest. If a lot of people haven't paid attention to that, it's always like my last song of that segment is whoever my special guest is. So, you
Right.
know, so I try
Right.
to link all that and then so on to the rest of the night, and then I'll close it out with a special mix or something. Which you know, and I do that on all the DJ shows, which is amazing. They all come to me. Philip Colley has had me do his show when he was down last year, which was an honor.
I
And
remember that. Yeah. I remember. Yeah.
yeah, Keith has always played my mixes and things on his show for years. For at least you know, I've been on P4 Radio for 20 years now, so he's always played little exclusives or songs I sent him or little things I put together. So you know, and that's a hell of a platform. I appreciate him for giving that because P4 Radio is another strong one holding it down. And you know, Robin Denson Austin, I can't forget her because she's one of the first ladies on Spreaker and first lady DJs on this funk thing we doing that has her show.
Shout out.
So I gotta give a shout out to her because she, you know, and I do exclusive mixes on there as well as Funkster Jones. So that's my thing. I try to do my part to keep the funk alive. That's basically it,
Hey,
man.
you doing it. And I want to tell you, here we are hanging out on Funk from the Front Seat with my brother, my funk brother. I love him to death, Mr. Gabe Gonzalez, you know, from the
Hey,
Godzilla
hey.
P Funk drummer, you know, P Funk radio, DJ, promoter. A lot of people are signing in. I want to say hi to all the fans out there, Sonya, David Brooks, everybody. Thank you guys for tuning into the show. Thank you for always supporting us here at IBM.TV. You said something interesting, you know, about listening to other shows and things of that nature. When I listen to some of your mixes, I can hear that deepness and how you paying homage and tribute. And even when you did the one for Donna Sneed and Benevolent Funk and Boogie Munson, when you had did that Night of the Thumpasaurus, I don't know what even the name. All I know is I saw something with Thumpasaurus mixed by Gabe Gonzalez. I was mad. This is what I did. I called Keith. I said, Keith, send me a copy of that.
Right.
I said, because that blew me away. And I got to tell people how hard you work. I called you this morning. You're like, oh, no, hold on. I'll call you back. I'm working on something for Robin. You was grinding this morning before this show. And I know you got other things to do today. So this brother, let me tell you something. He's on it. Keeping that funk alive, man. Speaking of a lot of stuff you went through, and here we are with Gabe Gonzalez, my funk brother. I love him to death, man. If you had any advice for a lot of the younger heads coming up, not necessarily in the funk world, but trying to get in this game, what would you tell them to give them a little bit of confidence, or not really confidence, but what would you tell a young person to say, hey, bro, I'm trying to get in this game. What should I know? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that. I actually hang with a lot of the young musicians here in Detroit. A lot of the young cats, and there's some bad cats here, as it always ever was. But I do notice no matter where I go, a lot of the younger ones, they know they're good, so they got a little bit of a big head and ego, and and I get it, because I was once one of those little knuckleheads when I was coming up around it, where I was cocky, like, yeah, and but you gotta at some point humble yourself and stay true to your craft. And if you're doing it for the money, I don't think it will last. I think for me, it's always been, it's my passion. So the money eventually came because hey man, I grinded hard for a lot of years before I became P-Funk's drummer, and I went through a lot to get that job. People don't know. I didn't just appear. Like, I put in like at least 6 or 7 years of fucking work. You know what I'm saying? I would drive cash around. They would stay at my mother's house, run phone bills up to $800, $900, calling Archie Ivy. I got lots of crazy fucking stories I could tell you, because it wasn't always super great. But at the same time, all that shit made me, because like Gary Shai used to say, I used to say, hey, I'm blessed to be here. And Gary Shai used to say, no, motherfucker, you earned this shit. And I'll be like, wow, okay, you're right.
Yeah.
So there it is, just why I can talk the shit I do, because I can afford to. So
right.
I ain't even tripping about it, because it ain't, to me, at the bottom line, at the end of the day, I'm just blessed. I ain't no better than nobody else, and I ain't trying to be. I'm just me, you know what I'm saying? And everybody is something special. We all got something, like Sly said, everybody is a star, and George, everybody got a little light under the sun. So with that being said, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's what it is about the funk. It's always been spiritual. Ever since I heard I Just Want to Testify, and I used to hear, and my dad was a Baptist minister, so I'm a PK. You know what I went through, right? I rebelled early. I heard Testify, came home on a Sunday and was playing that, right? I'm 7, 8 years old, right? And I said, well, Dad, they say testify in church, So, and Parliament, I was like, well, this ain't the Temptations, because it had a little nasty to it. I think this ain't Motown, the normal Motown stuff, right? And my older cousins, they used to buy 45s, and I used to listen to all that music, man. I grew up, I was so fortunate. Jazz, gospel, harmonizer for Mahalia Jackson. My mother died when I was 7, but before that, she used to take me to the Apollo. So that's how I seen all those people live. Wow. I heard Testify, and when they said, ooh, luscious.
Yeah. That word, George knew how to use some certain words, and it was like luscious is actually a word in the dictionary. Like, but George, like he said, he never believed in cuss words, and because it's like, nah, look, even Christians, people still say, well, they got ish, like everything is ish now, black ish or whatever. We know what ish means. That's shit. So you can't change it, and as nasty as shit we know it is in real life, Yep. People say you the shit, and it's like the thing. So you can't take words meaning, because it always be just like, just like it started back in the day when mom say, oh, that's bad. That was the first one, because when the something's bad, you thinking, and in the hood, we knew what that meant, but anywhere else,
Yeah.
people like, what? It's like,
Yep. That's right. Yep.
they took it with it for what it was. So words, man, I always learned that too. That you could, it's about that, because that's one of the things about time and the generation now with new slang and everything. Every generation has its thing. Some of the music is like, for now, I love it because you got a lot of younger musicians getting back on that.
Yeah, they
That
are.
are keeping the tradition alive, and
Yep.
like the Snarky Puppies and Ghost Notes, and different bands like that, and Lettuce, and I can think of quite a few. And these bands are keeping that tradition, but still keeping their originality. And I guess that's what I was getting at with the youth thing. Just be
Yeah.
you. And because, when we was younger coming up, we didn't have a YouTube and shit to look at
That's right.
Dennis
That's right.
Chambers and Lenny Whites and Billy Cobhams and all these cats. It was we had to go to the source, to the record store, and buy the albums and sit there and seriously play the shit and learn it. And
Yep.
that's what I tell them, y'all got it easy, because we didn't,
Yeah.
when I was 12 or 13, literally, I would hang out with cats 22, 23 that were older than me, but I knew I was getting something that I couldn't get in school. You know what I'm
That's right.
saying?
That's right.
That's something, because like they say, I done been around a lot of bad musicians, even some serious motherfuckers. And they are, like, I know this brother from Africa, Pate Jassi, super monster bass player, but he's from Senegal or whatever. And I remember doing a gig with some cats just sitting in, and I remember telling the drummer, there's some things you can't learn in school. And I just remember just being like, wow, okay, he got it. You know what I'm saying? So it's a gift and it's a feel. It ain't just playing the notes. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Yep. Miles said it best, because Miles Davis said, "I don't have to play fast." He said, "You got, Coltrane and
Yeah.
all of that."
Yeah.
They
He
were.
didn't even want his music classified as that. He just wanted it to be music,
Yep.
and that's
That's
the
right.
thing. And that's kind of where Funkadelic lies, because
Yep.
they're in the category of, well, since, I am that too, we are in the category of our own, because to me, Funkadelic is whatever the new or any music and all music is, because it always was that, because it
It's the
was just
essence.
always George's melting pot
Yep.
of everything with his kitchen sink and the shit. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yep. Yep.
there it is, man.
When America Eats is Young, and I ain't gonna hold you too long because I know you got to roll out, but just let me know. When America Eats is Young came out, and I heard that, and by then my dad knew I was going to be into that whole funk music. He heard me playing shit, goddamn, on Sunday morning. Said, "Listen, you don't got to go to church today. I can see where you are," because I was practicing, right? And
Wow. He actually said that to you, though? That's
you
deep.
would have loved him. My dad, my sister, God fearing minister, my dad minister. I was always the different one because he knew I
Black
was
sheep,
adopted and I
huh?
was into that thing. So he used to
Right.
just let me go, right? And when I
Yeah.
was finally able to start making a little money buying all of that funkadelic music, and I started listening to that one album,
Mm-hmm.
America Eats is Young, I heard so many elements of what you just brought up, brother, on
Mm-hmm.
that album. Gospel, jazz, blues, funk, rock, rockabilly. There was so much
Yeah.
there.
Country and Western. I mean, they had
Yes,
steel harp
yes,
players.
yes.
They had symphony on there. Well, that album is is monumental for a lot of reasons. Because I was
Yeah.
into, when I was 5, had already got turned on to the first funk. That was my first experience, when I was literally 5, and shit turned me out. So my uncle, who was a hippie, he was just always give me another one. Sometimes we would fight over them, and it would be kind of deep. So that's when I started buying my own with my grandmother later on. But I was so into that. But American East is Young was one of those albums. It took me kind of a minute, because it was weird. It sounded like Sesame Street.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because when I first heard it with Bernie, and Bernie would be in tune with that, because all that stuff was kind of like, another quick story that people might not know about me is really deep. The first time I saw, speaking of Sesame Street, Stevie Wonder do Superstition on Sesame Street,
Right.
it blew my entire mind. I was probably 3,
Wow.
4.
Wow.
And that's when I knew what I wanted to do really in real life. Like I want to be, because I had a drum set at 5. You know, I did a Keith Moon and tore it up and beat him up, and they
Yeah.
didn't last a day. The little JC Penney shit, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I had
And
it.
then I didn't get another real drum set till I took the guy's drum set down the street who was used, and he was gonna throw it in the garbage. You know what I'm saying? And I ended up coming home with it. And the next thing I know, you know, my dad got heads. I started like the raw way. Like I had a drum set with no heads, just set up.
Right.
And then I started playing a lot of Parliament records and stuff, which also helped with my timing, which I want to implement that. A lot of drummers, you know, play the records and music and drum machines and all these things because it does help with your timing. And timing is very important when you're playing drums, regardless of all the chops and shit you got. You got to have placement for that. If you don't have the proper placement, then all that shit don't mean anything. You know what I'm saying? So,
That's right. And I'm glad you said that. That's very important. That's extremely, because you know a lot of cats, like you said, they can chop it up. When I hear a lot of the new gospel stuff out, and I'm like, okay, it's nice, it's beautiful, but you didn't let it breathe at all. Now, I don't never knock nobody, but
right.
you know, coming up like you know, you heard stuff and it was impeccable. That stuff breathed, and you are part of one of the greatest bands ever on this planet, if not the greatest. So let's not sell that short because
No,
that's
yeah,
what Funkadelic
yeah,
is.
man. I did my homework. And that's one of the things I implemented with my live playing with them, which helped, and then sometimes it didn't. But I still, at least for me to know, and I still have some more studying to go back and do because a lot of them early Funkadelic songs I never really played them with the band, let alone them. So, you know, like songs like "Can You Get to That?" and you know, I want to know. Actually, I'm not. Let me take that back. When I was in ninth grade, my first band, this brother, he was young, man, 16, virtuoso guitar player, and I came up like that. I mean, this kid was like a Alan Holdsworth or some shit, or Al Di Meola. And he was 16. Me and my buddy who's in town now, he was the bass player. We just talking about him. He was the band director for the Neville Brothers, my brother David Johnson. So I'm seeing him later today. And we're gonna chop it up. But we was just talking about how great Austin was. And when we were in ninth grade, we were playing Super Stupid in my basement and the Maggot Brain, just like the record. And he could play that shit for real, man. This kid is like, and then I remember Clip hearing a tape of him later, a 4-track tape, and he was like, man, who was that? And I was like, oh, this kid Austin I work with. He's like, man, he sounds like an articulate blackbird. Now, what is an articulate blackbird? That's a hell of a statement. I'll just leave it at that. So, but yeah, man, it's super good to talk with you, man, and chop it up. And
I'm
I hate to go.
I'm gonna let you
and I
chop it up.
appreciate all y'all.
Again, Funk from the front seat, Mr. Gabe Gonzalez. He's going to come back on the show with us many, many times. I want to thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
I love you. And I'm working on some new stuff. I'm gonna be sending you some of my older stuff to remix some of that. You know,
I'm looking forward to it. You got the email.
Do what you want with it. Again, thank you. One last parting shot that you want to tell people out there today. Make it a short, sweet, quick one, man. And then I'm gonna let you get out of here.
I just know, you know, everybody, I love all y'all. Everybody that tune in, everybody that don't tune in. You know, it's all love. You know, I'm just thankful, and you know that I have a platform and a voice to speak some of my views and opinions and musical tastes onto the world, because the world is a lot bigger than we think musically. So I just try to present that and get a chance to showcase people's new music that they won't be able to hear on any other stations or internet stations yet until, you know, and get around to it. So, you know, that's it. And y'all make sure y'all check me out every Wednesday on P-Funk Radio, Gonzilla Radio. Yo, and that's Wednesdays 10 to 1. And also on my mixes with Robert Denson Austin. She's on every Sunday morning from 10 to 12:30 now, and she's been burning it up doing her thing. And you know, you can catch me doing a few exclusives for Keith on Fridays and whoever else, you know, and that there it is. And I got a new Enema Squad we working on, still coming out, trying to get it out to y'all greatest shits.
I love that.
So I'm trying to get it, featuring like I got a lot of people. Danny Bedrosian just did some stuff on there for me. Norwood from Fishbone, Steve Boyd, yada yada yada. I mean, I could go on, but Mike Hampton. So yeah, there it is, man. So y'all stay tuned. Y'all can catch me on my Instagram, Gabe Gonzalez, or lowercase, or on Facebook, Gabe Gonzalez, my fan book page, or Facebook, Gabe Gonzalez. Till then, I love y'all. Peace.
Peace out, bro. Love you, man. Thank
All
you.
right, man.
Again, we were hanging out today with my funk brother, Mr. Gabe Gonzalez. Phenomenal spirit, beautiful soul, entertainment-wise, top of the charts. Man, love, much respect. And I'm going to get you on some nappy head stuff soon.
Set it up. Let's do that.
You be easy, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right, y'all.
Yo, man, that was beautiful. Let me tell you something. That brother, I love that brother from the bottom of my soul, bottom of my heart, man. That's a good brother right there. You know, and like I said, I told my personal story at the top of the show. People are gracious enough to come on and hang out with me on Fun from the Front Seat. You know, and I'm always grateful to know all these people and be able to connect with them on a personal level. And, you know, we share our personal growth and personal accomplishments and achievements and things that you know, we're doing to help keep funk alive. I'm going to give a few shout outs today. Number one, my main man producer, Mr. Mark Lee, the man behind the glass. You know, we joke a lot and kid a lot, but without producers, and sponsors, Mr. Lynn Shepard at the Dollar Store, and go to IBM.TV, click on the big green circle, save yourself some money. You don't have to really shop in the time of COVID. You can go in the Dollar Store and IBM.TV and pick up, I don't know, well over 4,000 products. So we have to give shouts out to the people that help make the station at IBM run. A special shouty to David Brooks, again, working with Nappy Head Funk Army. He does the website. Curtis Wilcox, you know, I call him the boss. I trademarked that nickname for you, Curtis. So, yes, I want money from that. Miss Pat Dioria, Aquarius Rising. They take care of our artwork. They take care of our cards for Nappy Head Funk Army. All the fans out there, all the DJs, Philly Phil, Keith Jackson, P-Funk Radio, Mr. Vincent, all the people that started and continue to do this thing, you know, Robin and, you know, Larry Funkster Jones, you know, and, you know, again, Mr. Gabe Gonzalez on Wednesday nights, all the people that help keep this funk alive is why a lot of us are making it through these tough times. Because when we get on that thread on a Wednesday night or on a Tuesday night with Philly Phil, Uncut Funk on the Funk Bus, or on a Saturday or Friday night with Keith Jackson, P-Funk Radio, that's family, that's love. Like Gabe said before, that's family. P-Funk is a family. It's a way of life. George took nothing and made something out of it. Bootsy said, always keep it on the one. Hey, Bootsy, hi, Peppermint Patty. And don't forget, October 23rd, Bootsy Collins' birthday bash, and I have been honored to be a Club Funketeer ambassador. First time I ever got any kind of funk anything, and believe me, I carry that on my shoulder. It's very spiritual, and it's a reward. I guess, like Gabe said, you know, you earn something after you put so many miles in. Again, please wear your mask. Please, you know, make sure you have hand sanitizer. I'm not going to go negative because y'all know how we do on this show. We always go on the up. Power of the one. Let's not hate because someone that we know to be not for us is sick, could be sick, could not be sick. We don't know the truth. But let's just focus on what we can be as better people today. That's why I love doing this show. And thank you, IBM, for allowing me to have this format. Because it's a cable show and I can say what I want. But I'm not really down to say a lot of negative stuff because I don't need that energy around me. As you guys know, I'm healing, you know, from my fourth shoulder operation, my third replacement, okay? And it's because of all you fans out there that touch base with me. Love you, Dr. Brooks. All you fans out there have always been uplifting to me, have always dropped me a kind word, has always been a kindred funk spirit to me. A lot of people, you know, that know what I do, whatever, you've always been supportive. And I appreciate all of that from each and every one of you. Even if I don't hear from you, it's okay. I know you back there somewhere and I love you. I got to make sure that my people in Australia, Carmen, I love you. Wendy, I love you. My girl, Tanny Soul Sister in Germany, I love you. Steady Groove, what's up? I love you. And all my people, we usually do a roll call, and I'm going to get to that at the end of the show. But where we are now today, and I'm gonna get into this tomorrow. Tune in tomorrow. Tomorrow, I got my man Bill coming on. He's a DC correspondent. And tomorrow's show on Funk Music with Zack, we're gonna really chop it up about some of this political stuff that we're hearing. And again, it's not gonna be negative, so tune in and check it out. Tomorrow, it's not gonna really be about the music. It's gonna be about how the environment we're in has affected the music we need to do. So it'll be an interesting show tomorrow on Funk Music with Zack at 12 o'clock on IBM.TV. Mad shouts out to everybody who tunes in to this show, Funk from the Front Seat. What's up, Curtis? You my man, bro. I love you. Yes. I love it. Curtis Wilcox, my man. Phil, what's up, bro? Another one down there in Texas. I hope you're staying safe. I love you. All these brothers and sisters, man, that help keep the funk alive have always been there for me. And that's only a personal note. And I love you all for that. I get so giddy and happy. People think, I'm lifted from some other stuff, but I'm really not. I'm just lifted because I'm a true funk head. If you cut me open, all you're going to see is funk. And I'm going to leave it at that. But what I was going to say, in these times that we're in, we need each other now more than ever. If you're around somebody right now, you can hug them and kiss them. By all means, do that. Because put on some P-Funk, put on some Mother's Finest, put on some Bootsy Collins, put on some Larry Graham, put on some Chaka Khan, put on some Earth, Wind, and Fire. Definitely this week, make sure you guys play some Tower of Power, because we lost one of the mighty pillars of the Tower of Power, the bass player, phenomenal cat. We're losing so many great artists and musicians, and entertainers and actresses, and great philanthropy people out there in the world, the Ruth Bader Ginsburgs of the world. We're losing. Mother Earth, the planet, is trying to tell us something. 2020, vision, hindsight. And I want to make sure before I forget, mad shouts out to my man Lee Cooper down in Florida. And mad shouts out to Al Rashad down in Florida. I had them both on the show a while ago. They both just dropped some new music, and you'll see me post it on my Facebook page. Whenever my friends or family drop some new music, I automatically drop it on my page. John Willis, the Groovalicious Project, he just dropped something out. Eric J, he just dropped something out. Oh, you was at the gym? Philly Phil, hey, keep working out. Work out a little bit for me, bro. Don't worry. You can rerun the show. It'll be on IBM. I'll rerun the show today. But yeah, man. So, anybody that got something new, I'm going to try to promote it. But getting back to taking care of what we got to do, make sure that we take care of each other. What's up, Sonia? I love you, sweetheart. I love you, too. I love it when people chime in and I can check them out, because it gives me a chance to tell them I love them. Because it's hard for me on the thread to type since my shoulder ain't quite right yet. But last night was a lot of fun. Every night on the thread, every day, Funkadelic, P-Funk, Parliament Funkadelic, Bootsy, Club Funketeers. Join the Club Funketeers. You won't go wrong. You get a lot of swag with the Club Funketeers. Peppermint Patties, constantly doing all kinds of good things with Bootsy Collins and his foundation. Donna Sneed, Benevolent Funk. I love y'all. Otis Hawk, Q down in Georgia, doing stuff. Next Exit. I love y'all all. Next Exit, I had them on a couple of weeks last week. Benevolent Funk and all the stuff that they're doing. Make sure that we all continue to support each other. It doesn't take a lot. Every now and then, if you got a couple of dollars, make sure you go buy Enema Squad's new CD. Make sure you go purchase music from Next Exit. Make sure you get a hat, from Benevolent Funk and Boogie Munson's Foundation. These are real, living, breathing things that are happening right now. The money loops back into the community, and you're helping out a fellow Funketeer, and that's all we're really trying to say. Please make sure. It is slamming, Philly Phil. That joint is slamming. Yeah, please make sure we don't turn on each other, because that's what the powers that be want. And I'm not talking about the presidency, y'all. I'm talking about the people that own the color blue, like Chris Rock said. They're the ones. Remember, on this chessboard of life, we, you, me, we are the pawns. Okay? Pawns always go first. They're on the front line. So we have to take care of each other, nurture each other, love each other, make sure our families are safe, make sure that we don't spend money frivolously on crazy things that we don't need, especially in the Black community where we already have, poverty issues and economic issues. Make sure, prepare now for tomorrow. That's what my father used to always tell me. And God forbid, sometimes I wish I would have listened to him more. Make sure, support, things in your community that are righteous. And it's not a religious thing. It's just about trying to help someone else. Reach down. I can't tell you how many people reached down and pulled me back up. I wouldn't be sitting here today if it wasn't for a lot of y'all out there, because people reached down and pulled me up. So that's what this show is all about. Positivity. If you got a birthday today, I love you. If you have an anniversary today, I love you. If you lost somebody in your life and they're close to you, know that I'm praying for you and I'm praying for them. If you're out and about in the world, please make sure you stay safe. Don't get caught up into the negativity, because we're in for a much tougher battle. Let me tell you, it's coming. We're in for a much tougher battle. And I'm not talking about COVID. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So above all, vote. Above all, you got to vote. Make sure you know what's happening in your local elections. Very important. If you have a mail-in ballot, you must sign it and it must be witnessed before it will count. If you send it in without signing it and without a witness, it will get kicked back to you. I've seen that happen here in North Carolina all this week. They're getting spit back because people simply didn't take the time to read it. Please, people, take the time, read it, sign it, witness it. And if you're not going in person, which I am starting next week, but send it in. But they're going to send it back to you if it's not filled out right. So you gotta make sure you take care of our business. I love the thread, man. They're giving love to each other. I love that, y'all. We can overcome this thing because we're the strongest people on the planet. Still we rise. No matter what they do to us, still we rise. I'm going to leave y'all with that. I love y'all. It's been a fantastic show today. My man Gabe Gonzalez, my man Mark behind the glass. Come on out, Mark.
Glad to come on out, and that was a great show. Gabe was giving all kinds of great information, was definitely sharing a lot of great wisdom, and I was really feeling those heartfelt stories that he shared with y'all about his own life, y'all's connection, things of that nature. I am a little bit jealous of Gabe, though, because you're going to have to talk to Gabe, because Gabe said that one of his best friends, or somebody he's going to be dealing with later on today, is a music director, I think I heard, for the Neville Brothers. And y'all know I'm a blues head, just like you a funk head. So I'm sitting there going like, I got to talk to my man, Zack, so we can find out how we can get this brother that is somehow connected with the Neville Brothers here on TV.
I'll ask Gabe. We'll get him on. Cool. I asked him for a few requests already, but people, as they say, they take the time when they can. They make the time. And believe me, that brother sincere, he'll make the time because he knows how much I love him, as my brother, my funk brother, and musician, and everything happens. And you and Mark, you and I was talking about this, even with Gabe before the show, about life itself. We can sit here on a Saturday with all our fans and Sonya and David Brooks and Curtis and Philly Phil and, Keith Jackson, everybody tuning in, and we can just feel so good. Listening to P-Funk Radio all week and just playing the music, we can feel so good. That's the one thing I like and love about music. Not because I'm a musician and play it, but because I love you too, Sonya. Thank you, sweetheart. I really do. But because music is the universal language. Oh yeah, Gabe is a funk historian, no doubt, and an exceptional funk historian. But yes, music is the universal language. And Mark, you and I talk about this all the time. You could be from another country or whatever.
Right.
Germany, France, and an American sitting in the same place, don't speak the same language. But you put on a song that we all know, we're all going to do this.
Yep.
And that's the universal thump, heartbeat. Like Bob Marley said, one love. That's what that is. Bootsy Collins says it, the power of the one, you know. And we're going to be running his video twice tomorrow. So y'all tune in and check that out again, the power of the one. But, you know, that thing that we have that connects us as human beings, not skin color, not money, like Gabe said, wasn't about the money. That's the thing the creator wants us to get next to. Yeah. That's the thing. That's the thing. We have to deep inside understand we're here for a higher purpose. You know what I'm saying? There's no reason why we cannot, as Donna Sneed, Benevolent Funk would say, be benevolent. Love each other. You know, that's what funk is. I'm blessed to be in the funk family. Trust me, all y'all out there, believe me, I love y'all so much. I am so fortunate to have found this music and be part of it in my own little small way, just to paint the canvas, man. It's beautiful. You know, we hanging out, just chilling. Thank you, Mark. You've been a fantastic producer as always. Thank you, IBM.TV. All the funk fans out there, keep tuning in every week. We're going to run this thing until we run it. So it's just going to keep running. You know what I'm saying? I'll be around for a long time, even when the live music comes back, which I hope soon. Stay safe. Wear your mask out there. And know that funk from the front seat, we love you. Peace.
Yep, Zack is out of here, and he's doing a great job. We definitely appreciate him as well. But I've got to get ready to bounce off as well because we've got another show that's getting ready to happen as well. So if y'all enjoyed the conversation that was going on with Zack, you know you've got another one coming your way very shortly with Tish Oakley also. So definitely we get ready to bounce over there and check out Tish and what she's got to say. But Zack is over there rocking that music, and we're going to wrap this one up. But we're going to engage with some more great conversation with Tish and all of that. So another amazing show, Zack. Got to thank you for that great job that you were doing.
All right, brother. I'm out. Love y'all. Bye. Fun seat. IBM.TV. Check it out. Peace. I'm out, y'all. Later. Stay safe. Love y'all out there. Yeah. Nothing but the funk. Power of the one.
You know the funk don't always give you what you want. You know the funk don't always give you what you want, but it.
Again.
You know the funk don't always give you what you want, but it'll give you what you need. You know what I'm saying? You know the funk don't always give you what you want, but it'll give you what you need. You know what I'm saying?